Remember, they're changing my voice. I've been researching Satanist groups for quite some time. What names they use is not important. The Church of Satan, the Satanic Temple, the Temple of Set, whether they're still, quote unquote, operating or not, is not important. Their philosophies, their behaviors, these things are important. The other things are just labels and semantics. Some are atheistic Satanists. They don't actually believe in the devil. They just like to mock Christianity and act important and act like some kind of weird, immature drug addict in a trance, etc. Some are theistic Satanists. Some are serial killers. Some are just corporate dogs, what have you. Some are rock and roll people, rap people, hip hop, R&B, you name it. Something Satanists have told me time and time again, and I agree, that you don't have to join a satanic group to understand Satanism to an acceptable degree. There's nothing about drinking blood that's going to help you understand their stupidity any more than researching it. You don't need to join a secret society to understand that they're idiots and what they're doing is stupid and immature. You don't have to be an emo to understand that being an emo is not worthwhile. You don't have to put your hand in a fire to start to imagine the kind of pain that you would feel if you kept it there for too long. Pretty straightforward. It's only slightly different than what you'd expect, perhaps. And so it is with Satanism. Satanic groups are idiots. And they have satanic sex. What most people don't want to admit to themselves, and it's very important for them to understand, is that every culture that is allowed, that is not persecuted by the United States government, that exists in America, is a satanic culture to a T. Corporate cultures, the music industry, the churches, the spiritual movements, the mosques, the synagogues, you name it. Why is that? It has to do with reproductive cycles and people's inability to understand time. A very important figure in, Greco-Roman mythology, Western mythology, the Western occult, what have you, is Father Time, right? Saturn, Kronos, his variations. A deity that says, hey, if you do not understand time, you're fucked. So what did Baal or Zeus or Set, the various forms of Zeus and Jupiter that are said to have rebelled against Father Time? You see, time is a key principle, right? So who are these guys? What resulted? Time is an important principle. When they said, hey, we're going to get rid of Saturn and rule ourselves. We're going to get rid of Cronus and rule ourselves because he was eating his children. How is he eating his children? How is a deity of time and the harvest eating his children? Well, they didn't have the time right. They don't know what time it is. Their timing was off. They believed that they should just be some kind of Western occult dog. Make lots of money, try to tell people what to do, use psychology and erotic desire, hoard wine and material goods, and that magically life was worthwhile. As they say, there's no atheists in the foxholes, in the trenches, right? There's no atheists. People go, oh shit, it's about to, they might die. So it is when a plane is about to crash or you're about to get in a serious car accident. Magically, they have an epiphany, a revelation. That's why the book of Revelation is at the end, right? They said when this person reads the Bible through, by the time they get to the end, they'll say, man, that's something to think about. Judgment. They try to put it in the most dramatic way they could think of. So people thought of it in those terms. The people who follow Zeus, so to speak, the people who follow Set, the people who are worldly, who find their lives in this world, the people who use psychology in the churches and pretend that they don't find their life in this world. They use propaganda, theater arts, mere fantasy, mere white social norms, mere human rules, customs, and traditions. They discard time. But every last one of them on some level knows, unless they're severely mentally retarded or something, they know that there's going to come a time when they regret embracing white supremacy and token minority supremacy or whatever instead of turning to God in pure truth, universal pinpointed moral precision. They rebelled against the idea that life is short. They rebelled against the idea of spending quality time with a righteous person is greater than spending time with a wicked person. They rebelled against the idea that the time you spend with the top martial artist is more profoundly fulfilling forever than the time you spend with a bunch of wicked, immature children that never grew up. They rebelled against time. They said, let's castrate anyone who understands the idea of time. Let's cut them off, right? And they're sarcastic, okay? The die is cast. The cast in a movie. It has to do with casting them down. They say, we're going to cast you out of our lives. And in our social norm, in our social ladder, if you will, our scale for who's important, we cast you down to the lowest. And we only spend our time with those who conform to the corporate state. Who else speaks like I do? Who else points this out? Some crypto clown, some white supremacist, some token minority, some thug? If you're doing the wrong thing with your time, can you speak on time without looking like a fucking idiot? Think about it. You spent your life being a thug with no higher cost. What can you say? You spent your life in a corporation. You spent your life being some slutty secretary for some psychopathic, narcissistic dog in a corporation. What can you say? Cops, priests, military people, they can't say anything. You upheld white social norms. You read about slavery and Native American genocide and so on and so forth like everyone else. And you said, I'm going to join the state and continue the neocolonial treachery. That's what you decided to do with your time. You American martial artists, you Eastern martial artists, decided to make a mockery of martial arts with your time. You MMA fighters decided to be WWF-like clowns with your time. You gold diggers decided to go after the root of all evil with your time. And when time is up, you'll just be another female dog, which is called a bitch, that wasted her bitch witch life, chasing that which does not matter. You're the type of person looking at a bag of gold and a bag of common dirt, and you choose the dirt with your time. But because you're throwing a slight curveball in terms of what the masses are doing versus what the wise person would do, you failed life's test. That's what you've shown God with your time. As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart. What your heart chose to desire and pursue during your short time on earth gives away that you're scum. And if you have more kids, if you have kids or lots of kids, one kid or more, it just overkills that. You chose to lead your kids astray with your time. You chose to put people, your children, because they're yours, it's a selfish decision, over what is right with your time, and then teach them to use their time in a similar way. And so it is with the female on the picture on the screen. She chose to spend her time, her relationship time, her personal time, her free time, having satanic activities and participating in upholding the satanic spirit of her culture. In her version, that could be a corporate chick, could be a cheerleader, could be a rap chick, could be a token minority chick. That could be any attractive female, any female in America other than my mom could easily be in that picture. Be it a lesbian, using some kind of toy. Because they chose to make their dating life about satanic sex. And therefore their spirit is Satanism.